Episode of One Patriots Place, brought to you by the E2G Sports Network. Thank you for listening. Please do not forget to rate, review, and subscribe, particularly to the YouTube channel, folks. Please make sure you are subscribing
to both.
I'll say it. To both. Your host today, as usual, I am Clare Cooper. He is Thomas Murphy, and we welcome back, returning to One Patriots Place, the original and probably the favourite band member. It's,
right.
The Viking himself, our beloved brother. It is Mr. Steve Balestreri. Steve, welcome back. Thank you for being with us. How are things with you?
It's good to be back amongst family and friends here,
Look at that. They're already going nuts in the chat room.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I missed you guys.
And we've missed you more than can be put into words, bud. A very happy birthday to your lovely half down there who just turned 23, and which is surprising since Steve has been married for 30 plus years.
Not quite that long.
No? Oh, all right. So I've been married longer than Steve. I win. Yep. And but no, man, welcome back. And yeah, Robin celebrated her birthday. How was that? Suppose you guys, what'd you do? Take her to Denny's, old man? Early bird special.
No, as Mario calls it, the Seinfeld dinner.
The Seinfeld
dinner. No, we went out to a nice restaurant down here. So
all right. That's
and
cool.
went out with some friends, so we had a good time. And thank you and your lovely wife for the chocolates for Robin.
No, that wasn't what I was going for there, but you're quite welcome. I hope she didn't share any with you or Mario, for God's sake.
She did with me because she doesn't like lemon, so there was a couple of lemon.
There was a lemon.
It was like a lemon flavored truffle, so I ate.
Okay, those. I apologize.
Both at the same time.
They don't let me pick and choose which ones they are. It's just the box, and you send it and stuff. And I don't know. But happy birthday. I was glad to do that. I just wish it wasn't so expensive to ship stuff over to Clare. Otherwise, I would. I spend 3 times more on shipping than I would on the chocolate itself, and I can't do that. I'm just too cheap. I can't do it. So I send Claire little notes once in a while, folks, and tell her how much
it's free shipping as well, and it's still too expensive.
It's not free shipping. It's not free shipping. I even had to shell out for shipping to Steve. I wouldn't pay for shipping for Steve, but I will pay for shipping to Robin. I have no problem with that. But we're a Patriots show, so we're going to talk some Patriots. We haven't had a chance to talk to Steve in quite a little bit here about the Pats, so we're going to get right into it. Yes, this is a football show, folks. It is. You'd be surprised.
I keep that one because I have to use it so often with you now.
Yeah, Steve, I want to start out, of course, on the offensive line, but I don't know if you heard down there. Trent Brown missed the first day of mandatories, and yesterday he made it out on the field for exactly 7 minutes. 7 minutes. He did a little warm up, did a little dance, did a single drill with it, and then he was gone. What the hell is going on? Is this man just unmotivated and unhappy? Is he tired of freaking playing football, or do you think that there's something bothering him?
That's the $64,000 question there, right? To me, the whole thing. I understand his flight was delayed. Hey, look,
right?
The team is paying you $12.25 million against the cap. Are you telling me you have to wait till the last minute to show up to go to work?
Yep.
So, it's not like during the season, you get a snowstorm and you're late going in, and, even that's a little shaky at times, but during storms like that, there's accidents, you can get delayed, whatever. When, you're in the summertime, it's basically summertime, in New England again. So, when you're in the summer and you're being paid $12 million, you should be beaten down the door on the day you have to be there.
Yep.
Now, I understand OTAs are voluntary. No one has to be there.
Nope.
But you should have been there with bells on, So I have a huge problem with that. And, we don't know if he's hurt or not. But, I was listening to Tom Curran and Phil Perry. And they were telling me, or not telling me, but telling all of us.
No, they were talking
that,
just to you.
Yeah, well, I always feel like that when I listen
Phil
to
told me a
Phil.
couple of weeks ago how much he misses you, so I'm sure that was just to you.
But no, it's like, they said even in the warm-ups, running with the other offensive lineman, he was laboring. Now, if it's injury related and that's why they took him down to the other field, I get that. Okay. If it's not, if he's that out of shape,
right,
that he can't even run in the warm-ups, and you've been there. Warm-ups are exactly that.
That was a shot, people. That was a shot. Steve was telling me that I've been out of shape for warm-ups. Go ahead.
No, I'm talking about at Patriots
Right.
practices, and that those aren't run 100%. You're not sprinting up and down the field. It's a warm-up,
right?
And it wasn't a shot at you.
Not everything's about you, Murph.
But to me, if he's laboring in the warm-ups, I mean, that tells me he hasn't been working out at all. And for a guy you're paying $12 million to, that to me is a huge red flag. I know Tom and Phil were saying on their report that it was kind of a slap in the face at Belichick.
Yep.
And if it's the fact that he's out of shape, yeah, it is. Now, if he's injured, if he's got some lingering thing, that needs to be fixed before training camp. But if he's out of shape, then, and the coaches will know this, I'm looking to replace him now.
Right now. There goes my follow-up question, Claire. So you can go right ahead, because my follow-up was, are we going to fish or cut bait here? And I'm on the cut bait side right now.
Okay, but cut for what? There isn't anything. What have they really got? If they were to be, this is a whole cutting your nose off to spite your face situation if you're not careful, because who's there? I mean, I'm with you. If the guy isn't working for his money, you want guys on your team who want to play football, because at the end of the day, it's a multi-million-dollar situation, and you root for them. You put your emotions in, your passion in. So you want to root for the guy who is also ready to put his emotions and his passion into, and it's his job. So yeah, it's difficult when someone seems like they're tapping out for you to really want to get behind and support. So, but if it's the case of moving on from him, what is in the cupboard to replace him? And I think that's sort of was one of the questions that I wanted to sort of ask Steve and talk about, sort of following on from your topic of the O-line is, there's a lot of unrest, but where do they go from there? I mean, there's been talks of that DJ Fluker kind of, I don't know if he's officially retired, so coming out of retirement, but he hasn't played since 2020. But there's now talks of sort of him coming to the Pats. And I mean, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at guys that haven't played for 3 years. We're looking at guys like Calvin Anderson and Riley Reif, who, yeah, they're number one starters, but that's because you haven't got anything else. This is the sort of the concern. I really didn't want to take this down a negative route, because I'm not negative when it comes to the O-line. It's just there is that concern of, okay, you turf him out because he's been a bad boy. Fair enough. But what's there to replace him at this point?
Well, through OTAs and minicamp so far, the first 2 days, seems like Calvin Anderson's getting the starter reps.
Yep.
Yeah.
I go into training camp. He's my starter right now.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think they have a choice in the matter, honestly. I mean, you can't trust Trent Brown.
No.
That's the big issue here. I think, because it goes back to him not showing up on time. You're getting paid $12.25 million against the team's cap space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you can't show up on time. The first 2 days of mandatory minicamp, you were on the field for one positional drill. That tells me you can't trust this guy. And it's time to move on. Now, you know, I don't know if you guys have seen the tape of DJ Fluker.
Yep.
He changed his whole diet. He lost
Yeah.
like more than 40 pounds. And
He looks great.
he looks fantastic. And
See, I guess he looks better than Trent Brown.
Yeah.
I look better than Trent Brown.
Why do we have to? We always have to go back to Murph. Really?
But to answer your question, Claire, I think, you know, if Fluker is available, I mean, what's it going to cost to give him a shot at training camp to resurrect his career? I mean, he was a first-round draft pick, obviously many years ago,
right?
But he was a good. He
was a fine tackle for a lot of years, and a lot of his issues were
weight related.
And he's gotten better. But you know, this is Chris brought up another good point as to, you know, why we were all looking for the Patriots to draft an offensive tackle early. And they didn't even have to do that. They could have grabbed decent offensive linemen in the 4th round at the tackle position. I don't remember off the top of my head where Cody Mosh went. And I think that was in the 3rd round, if I'm right, Steve. You could probably correct me on that. But he was somebody that I was looking for the right side. But right now, we're looking for a tackle for the left side, for the important side. And that is, I'm going to say, this was the Patriots' number one problem last year. Okay, it wasn't weapons. It wasn't, you know, it might have it might have been the clown that was holding a clipboard, but other than that,
coaching was a big problem.
Yeah, coaching was a big problem, but the offensive line didn't have the type of season that they normally do here in New England. You could put a lot of that on, as I said, coaching and offensive linemen looking at their coaches saying, yeah, I've been doing this for 30 years, guy. You really don't know what you're talking about. But that kind of attitude. And they went into the draft, and like Claire said, they went interior offensive linemen throughout the entire process. Steve, do you see anybody that could kick out and possibly help this team?
Can I just jump in? Sorry, March went, he went in the 2nd round. He went 48th to the Bucks. So you wouldn't have got him. You'd have had to have sacrificed White.
Right.
Yeah, he was 2 spots after White, so he was nowhere near So and Maffey where they took the guards. To be honest, sorry, just to correct.
Thank you. No, yeah, any chance to correct me, you please jump right on in. Let me know. Let me know that I was wrong.
Am I going to have to separate you two right after coming back?
It's every single show.
You sound like an old married couple.
Yeah, basically after now, we are.
Yeah.
But no,
why I don't get the chocolate.
The second round, I would have given up. I love White. I love the White pick, but I would have given him up for Cody Munch. I think I said it on draft night as to why what the Patriots were doing, but on second glance, I love everything I'm hearing about that kid.
Yeah. I mean, again, we'll have to see, but as of right now, when they start training camp, I think Calvin Anderson's your left tackle right now. We'll see if they sign DJ Fluker to, a contract, but I mean, I don't trust Trent Brown right now.
No.
It's a concern. It is a big concern. And I hate how we're going to another season. I hate that we're going into this season.
One of your follow-up questions is there anyone else they can kick out? I think, a couple of those young rookies, can play guard and tackle. I wouldn't be surprised now after the first 2 days of minicamp that the coaching staff, in the time, that dead area between the last one is today and the last minicamp is today. And once training camp starts, that they consider giving some of those young guys some snaps on the outside to see how they hold up.
Bill canceled today.
Oh, he did cancel.
He did. He canceled today. Phil thinks they're going to go play paintball.
Well, I mean, it's mini camp is mainly an install thing,
Right.
So if
This
they
is a
feel like,
teaching camp.
yeah, it's an install thing. They're just getting their plays installed and making sure guys are lining up, and so I don't think it's a bad thing. He's done that many times in the past, but yeah, I think tackle now is a legitimate concern because Mac is the type of quarterback that he's a pocket guy. He's not a scrambler. And, everything's based on timing, which was terrible last year. So if you don't have timing,
nope,
then your offense isn't going to look very good.
Speaking of offense not looking very good, one hot topic that's going around is obviously DeAndre Hopkins. And maybe as we are speaking, he's on his way to New England. What's your opinion on this? Is he a fix-it piece? Are you of the opinion that he's that wide receiver one and that's all that it needs, and then the offense is kind of fixed? I mean, maybe other than the offensive line now because of what's happened, but what sort of side of the fence do you sit in regards to the Hopkins situation?
Well, I think, everyone always keeps saying, we've heard this for years and years. The Patriots don't have a number one wide receiver.
Right.
I think DeAndre Hopkins would check that block. And he's going to take a lot of the heat. Well, a lot of the coverage, I should say, off the other receivers that are out on the field, be it Juju Smith-Schuster, Kendrick Bourne, Tyquan Thornton, the two tight ends. He's going to draw a lot of that. And I think, in my opinion, if they sign him, they're going to release Parker. Because Parker kind of fits the same role that D-Hop does. So, and they have $13 million in cap space right now. Releasing Parker, I'd have to ask Miguel, but I think
it's 9.
I thought it was 6.5.
Okay, you could be, you could be right.
It's somewhere in that. They would save that much money, cap space. I think, I was against it at first when people were talking about it.
Me too.
In the off season, but my mind right now with Bill O'Brien back, I'd kind of like to see it just because I think it would make this offense really good. I think it's going to be good anyway, but I think it would make it really good because you have to pick your poison. If you're going to double team Hopkins, you got Juju, Bourne,
Gesicki,
Hunter Henry. I mean, you have a lot of guys who can catch the football. I think it would transform the offense. And what are you guys laughing at?
I'm laughing at Claire's little Gesicki dance there.
Yes, I saw that. And don't forget Fisker.
Right.
Firsker.
He's just the newbie. He's the new tight end to me because I really suffer over his surname. So yeah, he's
Chris,
get out of here with Ryan Izzo. Just go away. Just stop. It's just stop.
He's playing for the Philly Stars at the moment. He's in the USFL. Just for the record.
The problem really is the fact that Parker can't seem to stay out of the trainer's room. And,
that's been a problem with Hopkins.
Right.
Yeah, but you can't really compare that.
But also, right now, we're dealing with Juju Smith-Schuster hasn't seen the field at all. Okay, so you've got to think that it's a knee issue that's still going on. But I couldn't see the Patriots just a second. I couldn't see the Patriots signing him to this contract if he didn't get a clean bill of health beforehand. Steve, what do you think about that?
He might have some lingering thing going on, and maybe they're just taking a conservative approach with it.
He's had 4 months.
I'm talking about since OTA started.
Oh, okay.
He might have some kind of lingering thing from OTAs. and they're just taking a conservative approach. I remember people were talking about cutting Randy Moss at the end of training camp in 2007.
Yep.
23 touchdowns later,
Back when Clare was in second grade.
Were you in second grade in 2007?
I don't know, because I don't know which one second grade is. So
Second grade's about a 10-year-old.
okay.
No.
9-year-old. Yeah.
No.
It's
No.
eight.
8? Okay.
Moving on.
I was just trying to make a point.
Joel has asked, which is quite interesting, and obviously I don't think we're really going to know the answer to this, so this will just be pure speculation, obviously. Why is Hopkins coming for a 2-day trip? Fair
to play
question,
paintball.
But
Yes.
that's why they cancelled their GA, so they can all go and have
Bill
fun.
told him that there's not going to be practice. We're going to go play paintball. Come in early, and we'll team building. Look
That's
how
not
much
a report,
fun we're
people.
having.
Please be aware that is not an official report. Just for the record,
Yep.
Murph speculating.
Mhm.
Murph being Murph. Please don't report that now. What Patriots Place said, he's here for paintball. We don't need that.
After the show's over, I'll tell both of you a funny paintball story. But if he's coming in for 2 days, that maybe they're going to sit down and talk to him today and a physical tomorrow.
There you go. There you go.
I'm looking on the half full glass on this side of the equation.
If Steve, the old saying goes, if they walk out and they don't have a contract, then it's not going to happen. Do you think are you thinking along those lines with Hopkins? Is he walks out of here that it's no go?
I think so, because I still put the signing of him low possibility. I mentioned it in my Sunday football column on PatsFans.com. He met with the Chiefs, he met with the Bills, he met with the Titans. He was in no rush to sign anywhere because he just wants to have it before training camp. And, he's going around and he's visiting teams and he's seeing what's out there. I still kind of have the Bills on. Yeah. They're not making any noise about this, right?
No. So, very quiet up there in upstate New York.
Right.
And isn't there some unrest with Diggs as well?
Isn't it what? Excuse me?
Isn't there some unrest about Diggs as well?
Yeah, Stephon Diggs has not shown up yet.
Yeah. And that makes me wonder, is it about money with Stephon Diggs, or is it about he's not going to be the man if they sign D-Hop?
This is it.
And
has he caught wind or something?
That has been a running problem with me. And here, bringing Junior in here, he's somebody that demands the ball so much, and it's not just the fact that he's open, and it's the same problem with Diggs up there. You noticed during the playoffs, during his little meltdown there, he was very unhappy that he wasn't being thrown the ball. And do you think that that bringing him in here throws a monkey wrench into the way Bill likes to do things? The favorite receiver is the open receiver.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to obviously get a good chunk of the passes thrown that way. But I think, with the other guys that they have in the system here, and I don't know Hopkins' mentality or anything, but I think he would like that because it's going to get the team successful. Guys are going to start making catches, and I think it's going to increase everyone's productivity.
All right, cool.
Because it's not a one-man show. It's not just him and nobody else. They have good receivers. I personally like Juju, Bourne. Tyquan Thornton is a big X factor to me this year.
Right.
Because I'm thinking that, he might be primed for a really good, season 2. So the only thing I would worry about is it might stunt his growth a little bit.
Right. That bothers me, especially after. But then again, Thornton has missed some time with a soft tissue injury. I always love that. I always love wide receivers or skill players with soft tissue injuries. Give me a freaking break.
Hamstring.
Yeah, little hammy action happening, something along those lines. And now this isn't the same kind of injury that had him missing time last year, and that was during actual training camp. Now with Thornton, I think that it is precautionary, that Bill knows that this kid he's built like the first of the three little pigs houses. He's built out of straw, and you need to take a little bit of care of him. You need to take care of the Slim Reaper. And I don't have a real issue with him missing time because he's still there at the facility. He's still in meetings and whatnot. But
I
Juju
do.
Juju gives me. You do? You have worry?
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
jump in.
No, it's just, yeah, I've got to admit, and I don't know why, and I said this off air to my lovely assistant, actually, and so he'll vouch for it, that I'm just a little bit concerned that there's all these little niggles and we've got another N'Keal Harry situation on our hands. I don't know why.
Little waddles?
N'Keal Harry situation on our hands.
Okay.
I know he wasn't a first round pick, but he was like an earlier round pick sort of thing. And it's just, we just haven't seen very much from him. And now there's these little things. And I'm just like, if they were to bring in Hopkins, is it maybe Thornton that is the sacrifice and not Parker?
Yeah,
no.
See, that's a good question.
Yeah, it is.
But I think if you're looking at skill set and how they'll be used in the offense, I think Parker and Hopkins would be fulfilling the same kind of role.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. It was
so
just
that's
more
why
of a
I don't think, and they're not going to cut bait with Thornton after 1 year, not for a second round draft pick.
No, but if they put him on IR or whichever it would be,
Foxborough flu.
Yeah, then they've opened a space for a year of D-Hop or something like that.
And that's the other thing. Nobody knows what this offer is going to be for Hopkins. Anywhere around the league. I haven't heard any speculation that they were looking at 2-year deals or 3-year deals. It's basically folks bringing him in on a 1-year deal everywhere that he's stopped. That's the terms that I've heard. And I am not one of those people. I'm a huge fan of Miguel and his cap work, and I am not one of those people that thinks the cap is crap, especially here in New England. I think it does make a difference here. I think Bill works really hard to keep things in order, so they're not looking at cap jail down the line at all. But if Hopkins comes in on a 1-year deal, they can basically structure this, in a way where it's really not going to take a huge hit right now. You can add in void years down the line that, the Patriots end up paying him $20 million in cash for the season, and it only costs $5 million on the cap.
Well, to me, if I'm going to sign Hopkins, I want him for 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Same.
I'd want him this year and next.
Right.
And then see how the offense is working up. And, at the end of next year, then you can make a decision. Are we going to move in a different direction? Can he still play? Because he's at that age where some wide receivers start to break down after 30. If last year was any indication, he still looks pretty good. I mean, he missed the first part of the season due to a suspension.
Yep.
When he came back, the first, I think it was 5 or 6 games with Kyler Murray.
Yep.
He led the NFL in receiving during that, window.
Yeah, I was waiting for the giant fall off since, there was not quite as much OJ in his diet, and to put it mildly. But talking about guys that have maybe gone off a cliff or just don't have it anymore. The Patriots cut James Robinson yesterday, but What did you think of that move? Does it give you any thought to bringing another running back into the fold this year? And what does it mean for Robinson going forward? Do you think there'll be anybody that could pick him up?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, we knew it was a low risk kind of signing. They didn't give him a whole lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, at the end of last year, when they, when they looked at Robinson, he obviously wasn't the player he was his first couple of years. And they took a shot thinking maybe he'll be completely healed. But from what I heard, I forget who wrote it. I'll have to go back and double check. But I don't want to say a name without. I think it was Mark Daniels. But they said he wasn't able to get on the field hardly at all.
Yeah.
So,
I think you're right. Marky said that.
yeah.
Lee
And
wants the
that's
return of Rex
sad. I mean, it's sad because he had so much upside his first
Right.
2 years.
His first 2 years, he was just phenomenal. It was just phenomenal. Go ahead, Claire.
I was saying Lee wants the return of Rex Burkhead. I kind of agree.
I knew you would. It's probably why Lee said it, because he likes when you agree.
No. To give him credit, Lee is way more of a Rex Burkhead fan than I am. I'm a Rex Burkhead fan, but he's proper hardcore. Rex Burkhead, he's almost his ego, I reckon. I wouldn't be too wrong in saying, I don't think. He's going to come up in the chat in a minute and shout at me. But anyway.
No, but looking at the big scheme of things, Claire, if Ty Montgomery is showing signs of being healthy, I don't think they need to bring in anybody else.
This is it. That's the name that keeps getting bandied around since the release of Robinson is Montgomery. A lot of people, I've heard his name so many times dropped by so many people that they may sort of see what they want in him, and there's just kind of no point kind of thing.
He had a very good training camp last year. I thought he was, much better than expected in terms of, catching the ball out of the backfield. In fact, he was the guy that caught the only touchdown there in Miami week 1, and that's when he got hurt.
Right.
But, I think a lot of people are forgetting Pierre Strong.
Thank you. That was my next point.
They drafted him, last year. And that type of player, like the, Shane Vereen, James White, those kind of backs, they typically get a redshirt year 1.
Yeah.
And, he played a little bit, but, it was nothing outstanding. But, when you look at a guy with his speed coming out of the backfield, and still being able to run the football, I think he can be an effective runner. Give a little break to Ramondre Stevenson. I think I thought they drafted him as the next James White anyway.
Yep.
So I think right now, if the season were to start today, I think your 3 running backs would be Ramondre, obviously, Kevin Harris, and Pierre Strong.
Mm-hmm. Harris is the one with the serious legs. It was like, as soon as we drafted him, it was like, oh my God, have we seen the size of his legs? That's it. I was on board straight away.
Yeah, his thighs are about the size of my waist.
This is it. It's amazing. The other thing is that I thought of while you were saying that in regard to if the season started right now, they've also got that kind of H-backy type in Ferksker. I know he's down as a tight end, or he was initially as down as a tight end, but he can play that kind of H-back, fullbacky sort of role. So you've got the variation there that you didn't have before, when kind of since Devlin, and then the crash and burn of Dalton Keene, that kind of thing. So there's always that chance of, do they see something in him? So he's a bit more versatile. So Robinson was just still too kind of broken up kind of thing. So they're looking at sort of moving the pennies around the pot, maybe, perhaps. So I'm interested to see if he sticks around, if they keep Ferksker, particularly because of his sort of H-backy situation.
He's not on the depth chart anywhere.
Who, Ferksker?
Yeah.
No.
He's not listed on the depth chart anywhere.
On the Patriots.com roster.
Yeah. I don't know if he's on the 40 man or not. I'm sure he is, but on the depth chart, right from the thing, it's the tight ends that they have right now on the depth chart. Claire, I'm shocked are Hunter Henry, Gesicki, Sokol,
Scotty Washington,
my man
and
Scotty Washington, and
Lumpkin.
and the Lumpkin.
Dude, you didn't need to tell me this. I could have told you this. I thought he was down as a H-back.
I don't know. That's a good question. But I to answer your question, Claire, he's been an effective, pass catcher as a tight end. And the fact that he can do that H-back role, they can move him in the backfield. I think he sticks around, because I think they need an extra tight end. They can't go through a season with just two.
Nope.
No.
Last year, we found out we couldn't go through a season with just one.
We had half one of the seasons. Yeah. So,
See, let's go in a way of a little happiness. Let's spread a little joy today. We've got about 25 minutes left here. Let's get a little joy and flip this over to the other side of the ball. This defense was a top 10 defense last year. Bill loaded up in the draft. How do you see this defense shaking out this year? Are we looking at something better than we had last year, even with the loss of Devin McCourty? And what do you think of our first round pick, Christian Gonzalez, to this point in time?
All right. 3-part question, 3-part answer.
There you go.
So I don't forget anything. Derek Havens and I on our podcast last week looked at the defense, and I think it's going to be better than last year because it's so versatile. They have guys that you can plug and play all over the place. I thought one of the issues last year was boundary corner because of some injuries. Christian Gonzalez, to me, Derek and I talked. There was a couple of, I think there was 3 corners in the draft that we said if they got any one of them, we would be really, really happy. But we both agreed that maybe Gonzalez was the guy. But at the same time, during the draft, we said the chances of him falling to the Patriots are like minuscule.
Thank you, Mike Lombardi.
Yeah,
Mike Lombardi pushed him down and down and down. Leading up to the draft, and it just seemed like the propaganda that he threw out there kind of worked.
It did, because now he's got the size, he's got the length, speed, athleticism. He's going to be your day one starting left corner. So now your cornerback situation is much better because you have him, you have Jack Jones, who by all accounts had a pretty good day yesterday. And on day 2 of minicamp. You still
he just
have
needs
Jonathan
to stay
Jones.
Off social media. Sorry to interrupt. He just needs to stay off social media. If he stays off social media, he'll be fine on the team. Jack Jones is just too Twittery. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
But I mean, they're set pretty well now at corner. Now your cornerback room looks a lot better. They're absolutely loaded at safety, and they can mix and match guys. I just think this secondary, it might struggle a little bit at the beginning of the season because you just don't replace a guy like Devin McCourty after 14 years.
Sure.
I mean, there's probably going to be some communication issues at the start. But I think the secondary is going to be fantastic this year because they'll be able to mix and match the men and who they're playing. Jalen Mills, I thought his best season in the NFL was when he was with the Eagles and he played some free safety.
Yep.
So they can mix him in there deep. I think we're going to see some Duggar deep, and they'll be able to do a ton of things. But when I look at the defense, the guy I think that's going to play such a huge role this year as a rookie And at the time, I was a little head scratchy about this move. Mapu.
Right.
Everything I hear about this kid is exactly the way he was being portrayed. And I go back to the draft because, when they first took him, I was like, another safety? But the Patriots have him listed as a linebacker.
Right.
But he can play safety. But I remember Daniel Jeremiah, who's, when it comes to the draft, I think Daniel Jeremiah is right up there with anybody. And he said he's one of my favorite players in the draft. And right then I was like, I'm sold.
That's
Because,
it. I
said
said it a
Bill
couple. Yeah, I said it a couple of weeks ago when after the draft, when I was going back and watching film, I caught myself closing my eyes and listening to this kid play football. I sit back and listening to the hits that he was laying out on other people. And again, like Steve said, I don't want to mention any names because I forget who said it. It was probably Phil that was talking about how acute this kid is as a leader. He was already calling out plays and adjusting guys in their sets and where they needed to be on this play call and that play call. So yeah, Steve, I'm right there with you, and I'm sure Claire is too, on wanting to see what this kid is able to do once they actually strap the helmets on.
I like this. Chris has put Gonzalez and the Jones Boys, the hottest rock band on the planet. I like that. You could actually shorten it to Gonzo and the Jones Boys. That'd work quite well.
And they're gonna rock some people's world out there.
They are.
But
this is it.
Back to the original third part, I think this is a top 10 defense, even with the schedule that they're going to play.
Which is one of the toughest in the NFL. I don't understand how we had to go up against the toughest schedule in the NFL year after year, finishing in first place, and then the Pats finished down at the bottom of the division, and they still end up with a tougher schedule than the vaunted Bills do.
Yeah, but when it becomes so sweet when the defense crushes the Eagles' offense on week one.
It's going to be a test right out of the gate, I think.
It is.
I mean, that Eagles offense was really good last year.
It's fine.
It was.
I'm not worried at all.
And
no, but I think it's a great test out of the gate.
That's somebody. That's another place that's been suspiciously quiet on the DeAndre Hopkins front. I think Hopkins would fit in phenomenally right there. Not that he wouldn't fit in just about anywhere, but I mean, in Philadelphia, put him across from the other side of Junior there, and you got some real problems. You got some real problems.
Oh, and I think, if the Eagles were to sign Hopkins,
you punch their ticket.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they stay healthy, I think they're going back to the Super Bowl. But there's a Patriots show, so we're going to go on the side of optimism here, and we'll say, he's not leaving New England without a paintball shirt. So,
once again, folks, we aren't reporting; we're just speculating.
Yeah, but no,
But if it does happen, I'm going to tweet called it.
Oh God! Oh, now I don't know what I want, because if that happens, I have to live with you for the next few weeks, and I don't know if I want to have to go through that. Yeah. Now I just don't even know what I want, because I don't know. I tell you what, if it happens, I might go on vacation so I don't have to suffer through anything.
But no, going back to the defense, I think, I know people have been saying that this is a big year for Mac Jones, which it is. This is a huge year for Mac Jones. But I also think, excuse me, I didn't turn my phone on. I think this is a really big year for Christian Barmore.
Yeah.
We saw some flashes year one. Yep. We're expecting big things in year two.
Thank you.
He started off really well. He got injured, and that year two never really materialized the way we had hoped it would be.
He played hurt an awful lot last year. He missed time, plus the time that he was out there, he was hurt. I said this the other day when I was on Mike's show. Locked On Patriots, that I think that this is going to be a huge. He asked a question: who do you think on the defensive side is going to make that real leap? And I said I'm with Steve. I said Christian Barmore.
Yeah, this is a big year for him. And if he can generate that type of pressure that we saw early from him last year, excuse me, then this defense is going to be even better because the three guys that they drafted, the first three picks,
Yep.
I think are, as rookies, they're all going to play a role this year.
Yeah.
To that end, are you concerned with the whole sort of holdout or possible contract thing or whatever you want to? It hasn't really been officially kind of reported and categorized, but whatever is going on with Lawrence Guy and he's not turning up to minicamp and stuff like that.
It's funny because I mentioned Derek earlier. Derek and I were talking and we were wondering, he's been so consistent for them. But he's at that age where guys start, showing their age.
Yep.
And we were wondering if he could be the odd guy out in training camp this year, if Daniel Aquale can make that jump to being a full-time player. Aquale's been a really good sub-package, interior pass rusher. But if Aquale shows that he's able to stay on the field, as a 3-down type of player.
Yep.
We were wondering if Guy might be the odd man out.
Right.
So I'm curious about Guy's timing with this. So I don't know. Right now, I don't think it's a major issue, but we'll see what happens in training.
I do for one main reason. Because last year, one of my favourite things to see when it came to defense was the Lawrence Guy spank afterwards, and I'm going to miss that if he leaves, if they don't keep him.
Well, look, just to stay on the same subject, Lawrence Guy has been.
That'll be after the show.
After the show.
Oh, yeah. That's the one that you have to like.
You can find that on our OnlyFans.
Yeah.
But no, Lawrence Guy. Yep, you guys pay for that one. Lawrence Guy has been a real Patriot soldier over the years, and he's been the true dependable individual here. He's played for, I think, I don't want to say far under his worth, but I do think that he's somebody that the Patriots should reward. I know we've talked in the past about not paying for a player's past performance and paying for what he's able to do in the future, but I can't see giving him an added year onto this contract and a little more money this season as any kind of a detriment. How about you, Claire? Do you think that that's fair?
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit confused of why the timing of it is mid-contract and stuff like that. It seems a little bit like
it's a contract year.
You already agreed what you're going to work for, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It just seems a little bit unusual. Well, I'm not saying unusual. It was a surprise because it's like sort of a holdout in the middle of your contract kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, if it takes a bit of money just to make him happy, then I'm all for it. As long as it's not super detrimental to obviously everything else.
Contract holdout. I don't think enough football players do it. I think
why do you want them to do it though? It just seems really diva-ish. It's like
because it doesn't. Because so often these guys get cut and don't get the money that they were supposed to get in contracts. And I understand that they structure these with guaranteed money into it and everything, but right now he's looking at a scenario that if he gets hurt, this is all the cash that he's going to get, and if he's going to make the move, then he needs to do it now, thinking about his family and his own future.
Well, okay, fair. It still seems on the surface a little bit like, well, yeah, you're in the middle of a contract sort of thing, but I think as long as he's not being a massive diva about it,
he's not in the middle. This isn't year 2 of a 5-year deal. This is the final year of his deal.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
this is the
thought he was.
final.
No,
No,
I.
this is
Oh,
the final
okay.
year of his deal.
I didn't think it was. I thought it was year 2 or 4. Okay, my bad. Sorry, I got the numbers wrong then. Fair enough. Okay,
That's
it's a little
okay.
bit different. It's a little bit more of a holdout. To be honest with you, it's going to be the balance of, as long as he's not asking the world, because at the end of the day, like you said, you know, he's not getting any younger and stuff like that. He's at the end of his career already. But I think he's valuable to the Patriots. And I just think losing another sort of veteran on the defensive side after losing McCourty, he's
no.
one of the few that's left.
No, I'm sorry. You're right. This is the third year of a 4-year deal. You were right. I shouldn't have opened my mouth. You were right.
Anyway, I just thought, I'd rather that they kept him, as long as it doesn't break the bank and cause massive, which I'm sure it probably wouldn't for a deal like Guy kind of thing. So yeah, I do want him to stay. There's a few people saying, you know, do an incentive laden contract from Joel.
Yep.
And what's the other one? Give Guy a big signing bonus. Add
a year
make it work for everybody.
Make it work for everybody.
Keep him in.
You know, a lot of people forget Lawrence Guy was part of the 2010s All-Decade team here. This is a guy that's put in the time and, like I said, been a good Patriot throughout his career. And I'm sorry that I was wrong, but I'm just want to take full credit for admitting that I was wrong and Claire was right.
Oh my God! Now he has to take credit for being. Thank you. I often get these sorts of things mixed up because my memory is so shocking. So I am usually the one that's kind of remembered it slightly incorrectly. So I'm quite used to that. So it's quite nice that I'm actually right for a change. But when it comes to tight ends, I'm okay. I can do a lot of those numbers, and if not, they're on a post-it note over there somewhere anyway. So
awesome. Well, you were talking about a good note. I think with the defense, if especially these top 3 guys, if they all work out the way we envision them, I mean, you can look at these last couple of drafts and say they have stocked up on young talent.
Mm-hmm.
And the future is set because these guys are going to be around for a while. And I think defensively, I think they're going to be really strong this year. I think they're going to be better than last year. And even though they're facing, a bunch of really good football teams, I still think they're going to be a top 10 defense.
I agree. And
what do you think? Oh, sorry, Murph. I didn't think you were going to.
No, go right ahead.
I got one more question. I was
just going to say something stupid, so go ahead.
Okay. What do you reckon the biggest overreaction is at the moment, Steve?
Oh, that's a good one. The biggest overreaction, I think it's still the Bill and Mac thing. I think, they played this out for so long, and to me, it's a non-issue, and I still keep hearing rumblings of this, and I was like, just stop already.
Some people who have nothing better to say.
Yeah, and I think the best free agent signing this year was Bill O'Brien because he took all of that away. All the reports I'm seeing about Mac Jones and Bill O'Brien, they're joined at the hip, that they already are of one mind, and they were way ahead of, the timeline. Normally, the Patriots don't start calling plays in via the headset like they do in actual game situations until training camp. And O'Brien and Jones were doing that in Bailey Zappi as well in OTAs, which tells me that the guys all bought in and they've put the work in. They've put the work in to learn the system. Everyone's comfortable with it already, and they don't need it to turn around and ask the coach this or that, And the fact that O'Brien has already installed Mac being able to audible at the line of scrimmage. And that was a huge issue last year.
Humongous.
Because, they took that away from him, just run the play. And that was some of the frustration that was there.
Right.
Because they'd line up. The defense would
know
show
what they're
them,
doing.
they would show them a look that was very much against what the Patriots, were going to try to accomplish. And, Mac had to run it anyway. That was a huge issue for them last year. And I think, this year, Mac was talking about the toolbox, and that's where O'Brien gives him the leeway of being able to change the play at the line of scrimmage. Good point, Chris. And it happened yesterday in OTAs. They showed an all-out blitz. Mac changed the play at the line of scrimmage. I think Phil Perry wrote this, and he hit Kendrick Bourne on a quick slant, went for a touchdown.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Chris
why I
mentioned
think O'Brien is the difference maker this year for the offense.
Yeah. Chris mentioned when you have a better coach, the players will put the work in, which is what Steve was agreeing to completely. And I think poor Phil Perry has had his name dropped so many times today. I hope his ears aren't burning.
Yeah, they are.
You guys with all the Phil love today.
Phil, how can you not love Phil?
I like Phil and Tom. I think they work well together, and they do a great job down there. And they're one of the few podcasts that I listen to other than yours. Or I should say ours, because my name's still up there.
Your name's still on there. It's not coming off. It's not coming off. I refuse. I refuse to have it come off. But, in the same vein, how much is Adrian Clem going to help this season?
Oh, I think you can already see the difference.
Yeah.
I think they cut themselves way too short last year. You put Matt Patricia in a position he had never been in, calling offensive plays, and now he's also the main offensive line coach. I think they, trust me, I wasn't a fan of how it all turned out, but at the same time, I think they didn't do.
They did him wrong.
They didn't do Matt any favors.
All right, Joel. The Pats should pay Guy with an incentive.
I already put that one up.
You put that one up. I'm sorry.
I already did.
Sorry.
You shouldn't interfere with my job role. I do my job. You do your job.
That's it. I'm sorry, folks. I've been instructed
you just
to
sit
ignore.
there looking pretty. You just sit there looking pretty, and that's your job. There you go.
Okay. There you go. I'm pretty. I feel pretty. Steve, what do you think? What was your favorite pick in this draft? Who is it that is going to make the biggest impact in year one? Is it Gonzalez? Is it Mapo?
It's the
could it be? Oh no! Could it be one of the 30 guards that we decided to take? Is somebody good enough that for lack of a better, Onweyu is able to kick back out and maybe fill in that role?
I think my favorite pick is still Gonzalez, because that was that was a big need for them, having a boundary corner, especially a guy with size and speed. And we didn't expect him to be around, so I thought that was a big steal for them. But the more I see of this Mapo kid, he's the most intriguing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He has the capability of being, a real big X factor, for the defense this year.
There you go. So
I was again, Chris.
Yep.
You have been missed, Steve. Keeping law and order. Dun, dun,
right.
I know. I have to do this on two shows. With you two, and on Patriots 4th and 2 with Russ and Derek. So
there you go. There you go. At least we got you warmed up for the second show this week. When's that show going to drop, Steve?
Actually, Derek and I are going to do our podcast today at 12:30. So
okay. Well, cool.
And then tomorrow at 10:30, I'll be on with our good friend Mike Diabate on Locked On Patriots. So
cool. Well, so
can I plug my show now, please?
Of course.
We just plugged everybody else's show. Can I plug mine?
Mhm.
A
Well,
Clare perspective.
Plug your show,
A Patriots
Claire.
podcast. A Clare perspective, a Patriots podcast, brought to you by fullpresscoverage.com. Make sure you are listening, rating, reviewing, and subscribing, peoples. And a new episode is on its way because I recorded it yesterday, so it's on its way soon.
Oh, okay. Well,
Who
isn't
did
that
you
cool?
have on for guests?
Yeah.
Because I work really hard, you see,
You
because
do.
I had my show, now I have this show, and then I'm supposed to do Locked On. So you guys just don't even realize
No.
how hard I work.
Right.
I
And we've
hard
now gone
Claire
into
works.
overtime.
We do.
So.
We all realize. The people out there need to realize it, and they know. Oh, when is Steve going to be on Claire's show?
Thank you, Chris. I was about to mention that. I still haven't been
I have
invited.
never been asked onto Claire's show.
I'm having this massive inferiority complex.
Mm-hmm.
And that is it for another edition of One Patriots Place, brought to you on the E2G Sports Network. Thank you
it's
so
like
much.
I'm not worthy to be on her
that's
show.
not.
Me
No,
either.
that's not fair. That's not fair.
It is fair. You haven't asked
I will
us on.
legitimately put it out there that I've told you both this in private, but I'll tell everybody, seeing as you just dangled me out there to dry. It's because being a woman in sport, an English woman, it's difficult to get in. So I always wanted to make sure that I got through on my own merit rather than having my friends on my show. So I was very adamant to the wonderful people that did actually help me get here with Steve Balistreri, Thomas Murphy, Mike Diabate, Russ Goldman. They're all guys that were really supportive of
Derek
me. And
Haven.
I wanted Derek. Yeah, Derek less so. He is a contact that I do make, but no, I'm just being honest with you. Derek isn't somebody who I kind of knew at the initial. Those four guys are ones that supported me initially, and so I purposely didn't have them on my show so that people could see that
We
I would
supported
work.
her so she doesn't have us on.
It was so that people knew that I could get people on my own merit type thing, that I wasn't just getting guys who helped me get here. I wanted to show that I could do it myself. And you all know this, and you all know how much I love you all.
And how long has the Clare perspective been on? 2 years. So after 2 years, she's still worried about that. We do not prop Clare up at all, but she still thinks this way.
So true.
It is 2 years. It's not like she's been on the air for 6 weeks or 6 months or even a year. It's 2 years that a Claire's perspective has been on, and she's afraid to have Steve and I on because it would look bad. Okay, that's the story she's going with. Folks, I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Claire, take us out.
It is so true. And they know it. They know that I love them all. So yeah. Thanks, Chris, for that one.
We love you
awesome.
Too.
Steve, before we go, tell everybody where they can read your fine work.
Yes, please do.
Yes, patsfans.com. I write my Sunday news and notes column. I try to fill it in with everything that's been going on that week. Now that the season and training camp is creeping up, we'll up that output a little bit, especially once camp starts. We'll be looking at different players and whatnot. I'm doing the podcast this afternoon with Derek Havens, Patriots 4th and 2. So I encourage all of our great listeners here, a lot of the same people that comment, listening to us. So we'll be on at 12:30 Eastern time.
All right. Lunch with Derek and Steve. Bring a pizza.
Well, this that you get
we'll
coffee
have to,
on a Sunday.
Paul and Andy Hart used to do. Hey, what's for lunch today?
So there you go, folks. Make sure you go over and watch patsfans.com with Steve and Derek. So that's it. We've dropped Locked On Patriots. We've dropped Patriots 4th and 2. We've dropped a Clare perspective. So much love on this show today. So this has been One Patriots Place, brought to you by the E2G Sports Network. Don't forget to go over and subscribe to the YouTube channel, folks. Great thanks and love to our guest and our brother, Steve Balistreri, for his time and his insight. He has been Thomas Murphy. I have been Clare Cooper. So tune in next